So I will start with, oh, there we go.
Sorry.
Recording in progress. Got it. All right, so my name is Matt Visser with Connections EAP. I've been with Connections since 2014. And then prior to Connections, I'd worked for Target Corporation in Minneapolis and then in Washington State in human resources. So I was excited to make the transition about 8 years ago to come back home, which is Northwest Iowa in Rock Valley, if you're familiar with where that is. And thank you, Kelly, for setting this up to talk a little bit about EAP services and maybe educate people a little bit more on what it is and how it works. And I'm going to ask the question, you don't have to answer it, but I'm guessing I know the answer, which is, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about an EAP? And I would think that the first thing that comes to mind is typically counseling services. And that is the majority of what people believe EAP to be. And yes, it is the majority of the calls we get are for counseling needs, whether it's personal or relationship or kids or whatever the case might be. So 80% of those calls are for exactly one of those reasons. But that leaves 20% that are for other reasons. And I'm hoping today that we can educate you a little bit more on what those other reasons might be. We're going to spend the first few minutes here. It's a 5-minute video, and it does a better job in 5 minutes than I can do in 20 minutes of explaining all the different types of services available. And then we're going to review some of the information and the resources available on the website as well. So if this works and my screen share works, which I think it should. There it is. This is our website. So when you just go to connectionseap.com, this is what you're going to see. And on the top right, you're going to have a login or a log out button. I'm going to log out here. And this video here is just 5 minutes long. And again, gives you some good information. So watch that. We'll come back together and we'll talk about it a little bit more. And Kelly, please let me know if the sound does not come through.
It's very quiet.
Let's hold this. Let's try this again. Share sound. This should work better.
Central resource for problem solving.
Perfect.
It's a benefit provided by your employer. The bills never stop. The talk with our teenage son. Did that turn out okay? Grandpa's stroke. I wonder if Grandma needs more help than we can provide. Our daughter's college roommate used the words, hurt herself. What's going on there? Can we require the mortgage company to send that title and deed? EAP is your access to a broad panel of problem-solving experts. It's information about addictions, adoption, alcoholism, consultations for families helping elderly parents and other family members choose the correct level of care. EAP is an understanding expert who can discuss childcare and finding the locally available alternatives, depression, anxiety, the family budget, who can't use an expert there, legal issues, including help finding an attorney, prenatal specialists. EAP is consultation services for a special needs child, summer camp for the kids, temporary childcare, even trauma, which can be very overwhelming in the cases of death or serious injury. Work demands attention to detail, safety, schedules, teamwork, deadlines. The personal issues are important, but so distracting when we are trying to get something done. How do you access these services? With EAP, you can connect to resources of all kinds on the phone, anytime, day or night. Simply call 800-779-6125. A brief telephone call is all it takes to get you started. The EAP professional will ask for specific information regarding your needs, and you'll be given access to the appropriate assistance professional. And no money changes hands. What happens when you contact EAP? Your specific problem may be handled by a combination of resources, including in-person service, phone calls, emails, or web materials. A locally available counselor within the Connections Assistance Network will provide the in-person services. The listening ear. a professional, confidential counselor is available in your community. Connections will work with you to make the appointment as convenient as possible. No names or personal information goes back to the workplace unless you provide written instructions and formal, signed releases for such reports. Who is entitled to the benefit? Employees themselves, family members, and dependents, including children away at college, all have access to licensed and qualified professionals in these many areas. Does EAP provide addiction counseling? Addictive chemicals like drugs and alcohol are used and sometimes seriously abused. And yes, that certified drug and alcohol counselor can answer many questions and can be seen locally, in person as needed. Family members can be worn out by the endless cycles of responding to addictions. Our professionals can help family members first. Make a plan using the experts and do so confidentially. Successful projects take good engineering. The support for family members is often the engineering needed for finally achieving relief from the stress caused by addiction or alcoholism. Why should you use the employee assistance resources? All of life's challenges, like grief, pain, interpersonal conflict, sandwich generation stress, family breakups, money issues, school problems, all the stuff that distracts from the sense of success and fulfillment that's so vital to our functioning, all of these problems are best solved by using a trained and experienced advisor who can provide coaching and consultation. Can things ever be normal again? The answer is yes. The road may be difficult, but knowledgeable and helpful professional support can provide comfort and hope. Consultation is only a phone call away. Burning the candle at both ends will not result in greater health. Connecting with useful resources is a new opportunity. What about money or legal questions? Following phone and/or email contact, you may be referred for up to 25 minutes of free in-person legal help. Confidential budgeting and consumer credit professionals are also available to develop workable financial plans. So call earlier rather than later. After all, just a little problem is easier to deal with before it grows and grows. That's it. Simply call 800-779-6125 or log in at www.connectionseap.com.
All right, so thank you for your patience as we watched that. Hopefully all of you maybe were enlightened a little bit of some services you hadn't traditionally thought of before, and that is part of the goal of today's training too. I want to highlight a couple of things the video did as well. The fact that the services are confidential. So that's usually the biggest hurdle that people have to jump to seeking assistance and calling the EAP. I am here to tell you, and I'll tell you till I'm blue in the face, that it is 100% confidential unless you sign, as the video said, a release of information and one information released to the workplace. So when you contact us, no name goes back to the workplace at all. We report in our reports or utilization reports, they are strictly numbers and percentage of people that used particular services. No personal identifiers go with that. So if anybody is on the edge and wondering about that confidentiality sort of issue, please don't let that stop you. That is not an issue at all. The second thing is pointing out that these services are free to you. So your workplace purchases this benefit for all the employees, their spouses, and their dependents. And when we say dependents, we use the IRS definition of, so if you claim them on your taxes, they are covered. One of the things also that I like to clarify with people when we go through things like this is the fact that services are per incident per year. So let's say earlier in the year, I call in to the EAP and I'd like to be seen for maybe some anxiety issues. And I go ahead and I have my 3 sessions and I can talk with somebody. And from that point on, after those 3 sessions, I can choose to continue, and maybe that goes through insurance, and maybe that's just enough and you get the help that you need. Well, let's say later in the year, I experience a death in the family. So if that's a parent being lost or a child that's lost, then I can call again and get an additional 3 sessions, because that's a separate incident. And that's true for all of your employees, for your spouses, and for your dependents. So I want to clarify that there could be ways that we've had families that, sometimes things happen in multiples, right? So they call us for 3 different issues throughout the year, and they're ended up seeing somebody up to, 9 times in that particular situation. So just remember, it's not just a 3 and done. It's per incident. So you can't be seen if it was anxiety the first time and I call in the same year for anxiety later, that wouldn't be covered. But if it's a separate incident, it is. And then also your sessions that you receive for counseling sessions, those roll over each year. So as of January 1st, you get another 3. So each year, 3 are allotted to you. All right. So I'm going to
Matt,
go ahead.
can I ask a quick clarification
go ahead.
question? So our benefit year runs July to June, but should we assume that our 3 works on the calendar year or our business year?
Calendar year, January 1st, everybody gets 3 new sessions, regardless of what your fiscal year is.
Sure. Okay.
Good question. So you're looking at my screen right now, I believe yet, and I'm going to log in as a Cerro Gordo employee. And your username for employees is CERR for Cerro, and then EMP for employee, and your password is EAP. And Kelly, I bet you have brochures available, wallet cards if people want them with this information on it. Give us a call. If you don't have it, give us a call and we'll give you your username and password and get you logged on that way as well. But when you log in, here's what you see. You can see a list of different types of services that are available. One of the things that's most popular after counseling needs is legal consultation. So this could be those sort of weird situations where you just don't know, do I need to go to an attorney or what the case might be. We use the example of, we have a guy who had a tree that was kind of on both his and his neighbor's yard, and they wanted to get rid of it. And it's like, who's responsible or how does that work? Right. So that's not a real big deal. You don't think of a lawsuit for that, but you got to figure out, how do we do something like this, or what's the right way to go about doing it? Well, they call the EAP and they can speak to an attorney for up to 25 minutes and you get a lot of questions answered in 25 minutes. So it's a really easy resource. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be a huge thing too. If you wanted to see a legal professional beyond the initial kind of free assessment or consultation that you have with them, there are reduced rates for providers that are in a network, and I think that's 25% off of their published rates. So I'm going to go ahead and pop into some of the things here. I'm not going to click on all of them because we don't have all day, but you can look at our team, our history, our core values, our privacy statements. Then when we look at resources, I am going to pop into what I call, well, it's our work-life resources right here. And this is what I essentially refer to as our library of information. And here you're going to find articles, you're going to find tools, resources. I'm going to just pop in on some of these tabs here on the left. And when I click on the parenting tab, you can see the type of information that's available, right? Parenting, childcare, developmental stages, kids' well-being, education, things like that. One of the things I take a look at here, there's different articles that are in this one. There's some checklists for, here's a good one, choosing a child care checklist. There's handbooks, there's legal forms. There's also a provider search. So you can type in, if you're looking for daycare in your area, you can type in your zip code and the radius and the amount of miles you want to go to and see anyone who's registered in the state as a daycare provider. And that could be a center, it could be a private party that's licensed with the state, whatever the case is. So that can be a really useful tool as well. If we click on the aging side of things, this has to do with whether you are aging yourself or planning for retirement, or maybe you're caring for aging parents, things like that. There's all sorts of information that's out here in regards to those. Government programs, planning for the future. I'm kind of curious under home care here. Okay, so we have some articles. Here's a home care agency checklist if you're looking for an agency, so probably some good questions to ask. Some other resources, some seminars, also a provider search there. And you can just see it's more than just articles, and that's the reason why I go through this with you, to know that there are some tools out there. And in our balancing side of things, this has to do with your kind of general mental health, just wellness, your well-being, and it has to do with relationships with mental health, with grief and loss, addiction, recovery, etc. And I'll just click on relationships, for example. All right, so after you say I do, adjusting to marriage, nobody's ever had to do that, right? I'm kidding. All right, so there's some articles, audio, some online seminars, some resources, again, a variety of different things that are out there. In the thriving section, this is healthy living, ranging from infants' health all the way to elderly health, men's, women's health. There's also other health tools that are out here. There's healthy recipes. So if you don't know what to make for supper tonight and you want to eat something healthy, go ahead and pop out here and see what you can find. And in this case, there are 418 recipes out here and 125 videos apparently that show you how to make those things. All right. And then under working, this is going to be career focused, and you can see the different topics that are listed here. I'm not going to jump into any of them right now. And then under living, well, living is a pretty broad category. Excuse me. And that's pretty much everything else. So you can see different things here. Maybe you're buying or selling your home for the first time. Maybe you're moving across the country. There's probably some checklists in there and some tools and resources you can use. And there's financial, there's some budgeting resources. So maybe you've never had a budget before and you want a sample of what that might look like. Legal, safety, travel, going green, pet information, legal forms. I like to pop this one up here. There's 93 of them out here, and I'm not going to go through them all, but here's just a sample of some of the things. So a bill of sale for a dog, you know, who would have thought to contact the EAP or check online to see if they had some resources there? Well, there's resources for it. An executor's checklist. I've been listed as an executor. I don't even know what that means. Where do we start? And that's the whole point of showing all of you this today, is because the EAP typically is a great place to start when you don't know where to start. All right, and then international, I don't know how applicable it is to you, but if you have people immigrating or repatriating back to the United States, there's information and tools for doing that as well. Any questions on those tabs that I just really quickly went through? Okay, the other thing I want to show you is underneath centers here, there's legal and financial. And Kelly, you don't see the pictures that I'm seeing on my screen of faces right in the middle of the screen, do you?
Nope, we just see your screen.
Okay, good. All right, because I'm moving that out of the way here. So this is, I like to point this out to everybody, because if you don't have a will, and especially if you're married, especially if you have kids, you really should get a will created for yourself. And if you go to an attorney to do that, the bill is going to be, it's going to be expensive. I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth it, because everybody should have a will, but it's going to be expensive. This tool right here, the Will Maker and Trust, this is a software program that you literally download to your computer, and you go in and input the information into the program and really generate and draft your own will. And it's not just a will, they also have estate planning, and there's like 5 things that you can do in it. And you end up with a legitimate will. And I point this out because this is a software program that can be purchased. I think you can go online now and get it for like $130 for the software program. If you use the code that's right here on checkout, it's 100% free through the EAP. So there's really legitimately no cost to you to get a good will created. So I always like to pull that one out for people and show that one. All right, under our savings center, this is, I got to move my pictures here again so I can see it. So these are services, or they're discounts that are provided through Perks at Work. And actually we had used Perks at Work in my previous employer at Target. They also had Perks at Work. And what it is you sign up for an account, you create your own profile, and you can start doing your shopping out there, and you get discounts on some items. And you also earn points towards money back for future purchases. So I'm not going to jump into there right now and go through that. But if you're interested in, you know, if you like the coupons or you like finding those discounts and things like that, there's a whole savings center that's dedicated to doing that for you. All right. So I showed you kind of a brief, quick overview of the different types of information, but if you just come out to the EAP and you want to find information on something specific, obviously searching for that is going to be your fastest way to do that. You can see some of the latest ones that people had asked about that we had looked up. So I'm just going to look up anxiety here. And anxiety and depression are the 2 most common reasons for mental health services being sought. And the good news is that in-person services like this are extremely effective in helping in those situations. So it'll take a little bit here to pull up. And you're going to see that things are ranked according to relevancy. So the highest ones here are highly relevant, and it gets a little less as you go down. But you can see that there's articles out there. There's other resources out here. There's a screening for generalized disorder. There's the Anxiety Depression Association of America. They all have resources. There's a lot of videos here. There are some online seminars, and I'm not sure if any of you have participated before, but on a monthly basis, we have a new webinar that is posted on our website. And I think that Kelly, you or whoever it might be, hopefully the employees see that once a month, and it typically highlights an upcoming webinar and what that topic's going to be. And it's the topic is good. It may not always be relevant to you, but it's a reminder that EAP services are there. And then there's some more information here under the SAMHSA, the National Mental Health Group. And then under legal assist, there must be some things that are applicable or in these documents that refer to anxiety. Some FAQs, some procedures. So you're looking at, you know, can you use hypnosis, cognitive behavioral therapy? That's probably the most common for anxiety. But there's all sorts of information that's out there. So don't just think when you go out and look online that it's just articles. I mean, you can do a Google search and get just articles. The nice part about it is it does rank it by relevancy, and it's vetted information. So that is good. Yeah, I talked through the search option there. Do you have any questions that would relate to this library side of things that I can answer for you?
I don't think on this part, no.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pop back out of here and go to the landing page where we started. And I am still logged in. So here's a quick link to those webinars. That's probably one of the more popular ones that employees tend to do. So it's just a quick link to take you directly to the webinars, and I'll show you a list. It has them all. So here are the ones that are upcoming for the remainder of the year. So you can see if there's a topic that's relevant to you. But then you can also view all the past on-demand seminars that we've held as well. And for 2022, we have quite a bit. 2021, and tell you 2020 with COVID, there was an awful lot of them going on, and a lot around managing stress and building resiliency. All right. And testimonials, and there's the video that we watched, and then the fastest way to do anything that we're talking about right now is this tab right here, Advanced Work Life Search. Simply go and you can either search for on the web, you can search on our website by title, or you can search on our website by text. So really, you don't even have to go into the library side of things. You just click on this tab right here and it immediately takes you to the search functionalities. I don't know, I don't think I talked through it. So let me talk through it real quick here. So this is how to use connections. It's like how it works. So pretty simple. You can pick up the phone, you can email us and give us a call, and we will connect you with the appropriate professionals, whether it be counseling professionals, whether it be legal consultation or personal budgeting, whatever it might be. And let's just say, for example, because the majority of calls are for mental health needs, when somebody calls in, we collect very basic information. So we're talking name, address, email address, phone number. Is it okay to leave a message at that phone number? And then a very brief reason for your wanting to be seen. So is it for an addiction issue? Is it for some relationship issues? Very, very vague and doesn't go into a lot of in-depth. That's all you need to do, and we will authorize the assessment with a local provider. And then you would contact that provider. We give you that information, contact them, and you'd schedule your own appointments at times that work for you and times that work for that provider. And we always say, you know, typically we always like to get people in within 2 weeks. That has become increasingly difficult with a number of mental health needs and what seems to be a shortage of mental health professionals post-COVID world. Those needs have just been blown up. And so now it's typically, if you can't get in within 3 weeks, give us a call back and we'll try another provider. Or if you need to be seeing somebody that's a little more urgent, give us a call back, let us know that, and we'll work and do our best to see if we can get you in somewhere else a little sooner. So basically you call us, we set it up, and then you schedule your own appointment. And that's all the information you provide to us. How much does it cost? As we talked about before, it's no cost to you for those first 3 sessions. You completely just go in. You don't change any money. You don't have to get insurance involved. They might collect it if you continue beyond those 3 sessions. And then highlighting once again, connections is completely confidential. And if I can reinforce that however I can, please let me know, because I don't want that to be the obstacle. And then how often can I use it? We talked a little bit about the per incident per year basis. And if you have any questions about what that means, again, I'd be happy to answer them or talk through it again. All right. So that gives you a very quick overview of EAP services. My goal was to, 1, stress the confidentiality and no cost to you, and 2, to maybe open your eyes to other services beyond mental health. Because let's face it, we're all distracted with something different. It doesn't have to be mental health issues. It could be what to do with my pet. I don't know, whatever the case might be. To just think about EAP first and start there and see what resources we can find for you. So with that, Kelly, that's pretty much what I had for sharing with the group today, and just educating on resources that are available. Did you have some other questions that I did
do have
not
a couple.
answer?
Are you open to sticking around for a couple of questions?
You betcha.
I'll open it up to the group that's on here now. Do any of you guys have questions first before I go through my list of submitted questions? If you do, you'll have to unmute yourself. Otherwise, hearing none, you already touched on this, but one of our questions was, if family members aren't part of our benefit plan, they're still, sounds like they're still eligible to use EAP services, even if they're not part of our insurance plan or something like that, as long as they're a dependent or claimed by us. So
absolutely, we want to cover the whole family.
Yep.
The stress doesn't happen on one person without affecting others.
Awesome. Another question, and you touched on this too, was are the counselors the types of services that were linked to locally for the most part, or does it kind of depend on the situation?
Yeah, we have local providers in all the areas where we have customers, and we have quite a few around your area. We'll run into times, and I'll share this with you, we'll run into times where somebody has seen somebody in the past and they would like to see them again, and they haven't done that through connections necessarily. That may not be in our network. So when that employee calls in and lets us know that, we'll, right after we get off the call, we'll pick up the phone and call that provider. And if they meet our credentialing requirements and are willing to join our network, we can often get those providers back in our network within a couple days. So there's not a lot of red tape to it. I come from a world of a lot of red tape, so it's really nice to be able to move things along that quickly. And not everybody will join, but most of them are interested in joining.
Awesome.
Oh, related to that, Kelly, can I point out here too?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes if we're talking about mental health services and seeing a counselor, sometimes there's going to be, it just doesn't fit, right? You go to the first session and you're like, this isn't the guy or the lady for me. I'd really like to see somebody else. And it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So you can give us a call back and we'll work to see if we can find an alternative provider for you.
Awesome. That's good to know. I think those were the big ones. Oh, I don't know if this is relevant to our EAP or more our overall insurance, but we've had a lot of questions around nutrition counseling, and they were wondering if that is considered counseling under the EAP programming, or is it more of the cognitive counseling and such?
Yeah, it'd be mental health focused.
Okay.
On the counseling side of things. Now, that being said, I have not gone onto our website and looked up nutritional information or nutritionists to see what resources might be out there. But again, that's a place you could start. But no, insurance wise, yeah, the EAP wouldn't be on.
You already talked about local resources. This one was from a management question. And I'm thinking the answer is yes, but you guys have like specific trainings and stuff for managers that maybe have staff they're working with that we could tap into to kind of build our skill set as managers too.
Yep, absolutely. We have what we call our annual leadership development training. and that topic changes each year. So for example, last year, our focus was on having, for managers, having difficult conversations. And then this year's training has been focused on engaging talent. So the topic changes each year, but it's intended to be sort of a leadership development tool that helps leaders just maybe become a little bit better leaders. And then it also always covers information on drug and alcohol information.
Awesome. That's something I'd like us as managers to utilize more. So I just,
yeah, and we can
thought
follow up after the call too and
that
talk
out
through
too.
that a little bit.
I think those were the main ones. Otherwise, you touched on the rest of them, it looks like. So, and you talked about the process. I think a lot of people are just nervous what that first call looks like and what it entails, and they're nervous to make that first step and that kind of thing too. So you did a good job of talking that through. So.
Yeah, and I will say it again, we know that when somebody has finally decided to pick up the phone and give us a call, that's a big deal for a lot of individuals who contact us. That's why we try to make it as easy as possible to get you to see somebody in person right away. We're not trying to siphon you off to different places to try this online first, to try this tool or whatever the case is. You call us because you think you need to talk to somebody. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Awesome. Well, this has been insightful for me. I know EAP, obviously, our human resources director does a good job of sending stuff out and stuff, but it's always that one extra click that I don't take to learn more. And so it's nice to have a little lunch and learn where we can have you walk us through it. So
absolutely,
we take the time and we learn about all these extra services that are available that we maybe didn't know about.
Yep.
So appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me. And if you have any questions after our conversation today, feel free to pick up the phone. Anybody on the call. You got any questions, give us a call.
Awesome. Any last questions from the crowd? All right. Well, thanks again, Matt. Appreciate it. And hopefully we can drum up some activity here with our staff. And I know we need the resources. We just need to utilize them. So.
And I commend you guys for going through the effort in promoting that. Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. See you later.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great Friday and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks,
Happy
Kelly.
Friday.
Thank you.